USA Canada hockey game.
No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
We don't need gimmicks like giant checks and mascots to promote this year's football contest because we're giving away even more money than we did last year.
$16 million in guaranteed prizes to be exact. There's 2 ways to win and no rake.
Players in Circa Millions make 5 picks against the spread each week with quarterly and full season payouts.
Circa Survivor entries select one team each week with no point spread. Last the longest to win it all. Visit circasports.com for details.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news. All from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live from BroncoNationNews.com is presented by RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. Now, here's 4-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Yes. How we doing, Boise State fans? Happy Thursday to you. Happy Mike Prater Day to you. You know him. You love him. Here he is, Mike Prater, wearing his BNN hat, his KTIK polo. He is ready to go for a Thursday appearance on Bronco Nation News Live. Let us know if you can hear us okay, see us okay. Hopefully we're okay here. We are in the parking lot at Boise State. Mike Prater, nice day. We see a little blue sky. It's actually a little cool. I almost wish I had a light jacket right now.
It's great. This is like the best day of the summer so far in terms of temperature. So I celebrated. Yeah, I logoed up. I'm all logoed up, but we're here in the parking lot looking forward to it. Practice starts in about an hour, and let's get after it today, brother.
Yeah, Prater rules. First comment of the day. We'll take the. We'll tell your son or whoever put that on there to the check's in the mail there. But
exactly,
we finally found the Prater burner account. Bill L. Prater rules. But all right, Michael Adams says looks and sounds good. So happy to hear that. So Prater typically on Mondays got schedule kind of flipped a little bit this week with some things going on. So Prater jumping in on a Thursday today. And we'll be back regularly scheduled starting on Monday of next week. Again, we're in the Western Collective Studios. I know you're a big fan of Cary and what they're doing down there, and we got to get Mike Prater down there to Due West, the new restaurant they got down there. My wife and I went down there. It's on Idaho Street as part of the Western Collective Group. And again, use that promo code. I can send it to you. It's on the BNN website if you click on the ad. But a free app and a dessert. And it was had the tableside margarita made right there at the table. I mean, it was an enjoyable experience, Mike Prater.
I could pull out my phone, which is sitting right down here in the parking lot, and actually show you the proof. But when I saw your social media post the other day, I actually took a screen snap of it because I keep a little social calendar off to the side in my life so I can kind of juggle the things I want to do in life. And I put that screen snap in my social calendar as a reminder. So I'm hitting the Due West. The food looked good. I love what Cary does and all his family and all of his outlets. So we've worked with him in the past in other areas. Love the guy, love what he means, and I love the connection with you and the collective and everything else. So nicely done. I will be more than happy to pop down and have some dinner at Due West.
You know what, Mike Prater? The biggest comment so far is about my hair.
You got some spiky hair today.
I took a shower and then I put a hat on, and then I forgot to put the hat back on. And I guess I'm looking at it right now, and it looks quite. Luckily, I can't see it because the sun is just shining in our eyes right now here.
I'm hanging out at Boise State's parking lot with a boy band member, so it's all good.
Wow. All right. Well, here you go. It is what it is. Nice fluffy hair.
No, give me the spike back. Give me the spike back.
Must be electrifying out there. BJ's hair is standing on edge. I'll go put the hat on here on the first commercial break. But Mike, we got a lot to get to today. I got a couple clips I want to play. There was no practice yesterday. Off day for the team yesterday. They're back out there on the practice field today. But we haven't talked to you in a little while here. Just your general thoughts and where things stand with camp so far.
All right, well, let's hit them with exactly what they expect from me, I guess. I think camp has been smooth. I think the offseason has been smooth. And I had this weird epiphany in the middle of the night last night, of which I didn't sleep. So my mind starts racing about a million different things. And I spent about 2 hours, unfortunately, because that's how my stupid mind works. When is something bad going to happen? When is something bad? Because it's been so smooth. The offseason has been almost perfect. The camp has been almost perfect. Everything since Andy Avalos was fired, this program has been almost perfect and cannot do anything wrong. It's not sustainable, guys, and I'm not trying to be dark and negative, and maybe it's just a one little blip in a sea of happiness, and that's okay, because the reality is nothing is perfect in the history or in the world of college football. But, if you're asking me, it's been great. It's been smooth. I think they've developed some depth. They've escaped the injury bug. They're doing all kinds of nice things. They're rotating, and everybody's getting better. I love what I'm seeing in fall camp. I love what I'm seeing in the offseason, and everything is great. So is it going to be a little bit of a hurt player here, or an issue here, or an upset player who leaves? Something bad is going to happen. Hopefully it's small and minor and doesn't get in the way of the season. But that's where my mind woke up this morning in terms of it's been a great, great camp.
Been a quiet camp.
Yeah. When is something big going to happen that's going to put us back on our heels a little bit?
Yeah, no, people are saying knock on wood right now.
Yeah.
Get my head or something.
I don't want it. I'm just saying that they've crushed the offseason and fall camp more so than any team in all of college football, because nobody else can be more perfect than this football team is. I keep waiting for something weird to happen.
So we got a lot to discuss with Mike Prater. Mike, I wanted to bring up our man Brad Bedell. He was we added him as a new co-host. He's done great work over at the James, done some kind of fill-in stuff for us. But he came to me, and actually it was his doing that said he'd like to be more involved. How can we make this work? And so he's getting way under market value of what he's probably worth. But we are paying him a little bit now. We got him in for every Wednesday, and I think the mix of his funny stories and wit with also, like, if you actually hear his X's and O's talk, he knows what he's talking about with football.
Yep.
I'm super excited to have Brad Bedell on the show. But yesterday, and again, when we first announced he was going to be on, the first three comments were, well, he can't be cracking the Coors at 9 a.m. It's not going to be as good of a show. He said, well, let's wait till 9:30 to start the show, and maybe we can. But no, we found out pretty quickly that maybe it's not just the liquid courage that gets him having fun, and you never know what direction he's going to go with the stories. So we were talking yesterday about the Inferno practices and just how hot it gets, and dealing with the humidity and dealing with dehydration and trying to stay. And somehow we got talking about how he doesn't drink very much in games, and he sometimes can see himself getting a little dehydrated. He doesn't want to drink too much. And this is a brief clip, Mike Prater, as to why that is the case.
As games wore on, players, they're hydrating and all that. I didn't drink a lot during games, right? I actually kind of dehydrated myself because you can't exactly, hey guys, let's take this series off. I got to go take a piss. I'll be right back. You can't drink a lot of water during a game.
The players have better chances than the coaches, right? If they have a problem on the sideline.
No doubt. Are you kidding me? And then if you overhydrate, okay, shout out to the male viewers here. The male anatomy does things if you have to take a piss really bad. The last thing I need is the camera to be pointing at me, and I've got plays, and they're like, there's the offensive line coach at Boise State. He has got a problem.
All right, it froze on me for the last 3 seconds there.
I think we get the gist.
Yes. Brad Bedell and the male anatomy. You never know what you're going to get on BNN.
Yeah, I think I know what he's talking about. I'm not quite sure where he was going to finish with that, but that is hilarious. That has always been a problem. Back in the Statesman days, I actually once wrote a column about endurance athletes. I was covering a women's bike race, and they had to go 150 miles or something like that, and they're drinking like crazy. And I wrote an entire column about athletes and urinating and how they deal with that during competitions and events. So it's a real deal. Like marathon runners. Come on, man.
I gotta find that column.
You can't pop at the Boston Marathon. The leaders can't pop into a porta potty and take care of business. So they're. What about race car drivers? They're always attaching things like catheters to their leg and doing their business in their car. So same for football coaches and football players, apparently.
I think we need a Mike Prater column on the Boise State football and basketball team. And what do you do if you have to go to the bathroom?
I guarantee you Leon Rice would have a pretty good story. He's got a story on everything. He would have a story on that as well.
And something tells me that of the previous coaches of the last several years here, Spencer Danielson's probably the one head coach who would actually take that question and probably give you an answer.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Coach. Let's talk about the male anatomy and how you deal with bodily functions during a football game. He would absolutely pop up and answer that question.
Oh, my gosh. I may require that. I don't require much of Mike Prater. I may require a column about what happens on the sidelines when you got to go to the bathroom. But,
it only marvels the other one that I wrote, and I actually won an award for this, and it's on the plaque. The headline's on the plaque. I wrote a column when the National Gymnastics Championships came. The NCAA Gymnastics Championships were right over there. I think this was probably in the 96, 97, 98 window. And I wrote a column on the biggest issue in gymnastics, wedgies. And the headline was, Gymnasts Get Edgy on the Issue of Wedgies. And I turned it into a column, and I turned it into a contest, and I won a national award for it. So can you imagine walking up to a 19-year-old gymnast and said, let's talk about wedgies and how you deal with that? And I got some good looks, but I also got some good answers, and I pulled that sucker off. So wedgies and bodily functions, apparently that's my forte.
And they usually put the headline of the article on the plaque.
That's what I'm saying. It's on the plaque. It's the old. I only won like 2 awards in my whole life, and I kept that plaque because it says it has the headline "Gymnasts Get Edgy on the Issue of Wedgies," and it was one of my favorite headlines of all time.
That is a heck of a headline. That really is. Oh my gosh, people are enjoying that laugh, and that's awesome, Prater, according to Joshua.
Has nothing to do with Boise State football.
I can just picture you asking some of these young gals about that.
I actually took a chaperone with me, like a sports information director, because I was very nervous about that one, because I was probably, I don't know, mid-40s talking stupid questions about 19-year-old gymnasts.
What gave you the idea to write that column?
Because they're always picking at it. They're always, national television or in front of 12,000 people. They're always in there picking at it. So they have this secret magic tape, apparently, that helps alleviate the problem. And hopefully over the last 20 years, it hasn't become much of a problem anymore.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right, back to Boise State.
Save me.
Where are you on the quarterback battle?
Well, obviously it's still Maddox Madsen taking a majority of the ones, but I can see Malachi Nelson creeping up and closing the gap an inch every day. And he's still got maybe a couple of feet to go. At this point, I fully expect Maddox Madsen to start the opener. That's been my stance from day one. At this point in the game, I don't see all of a sudden Malachi Nelson becoming the number one guy clearly. I've always said Maddox is going to start the opener, and at some point, whether it's the second quarter, the second game, the second month, or the second year, Malachi Nelson is going to become the starter. And I think it's going to happen probably sooner than later. And that's not saying that Maddox Madsen is going to go out and stink. I just think the ceiling for Maddox is here, and the ceiling for Malachi is up here, and eventually he's going to get there. He's got too much talent, and he's got too much coaching going on with Dirk Cutter. And but right now, it's Maddox, and they're both looking good. It's a good problem to have. Maddox is playing great football. Malachi's playing great football. I love the way Malachi carries himself. we had a chance to meet him just last week, and it was amazing to meet him. I saw our boy Travis Hawks had a chance to interview him last night, and I was going to reach out to Travis and talk about that because I want to know more about Malachi Nelson. I am intrigued by this dude as a character. He talks about a vibe. He talks about journaling. He's kind of this modern day savant of great talent and the mind games and the way he plays it. And I love the way he carries himself. So I'm a big fan, but I'm a big fan of both of them. And it's a good problem to have right now.
Would you agree or disagree with this kind of just bluntly, whatever assessment? Maddox Madsen is the safer pick, but Malachi Nelson's the more exciting pick.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And I wouldn't even say safer. Right now, he is the better pick because for what Dirk Cutter wants, decision-making and consistency. Now, Maddox Madsen gets, when Maddox Madsen gets benched, and that sounded terrible to say, but when this happens, and I do ultimately think it's going to happen, I think it's going to be because of turnovers. That is his one big bugaboo. And, he's played great football at Boise State. He's done nice things, but turnovers have always been a big issue for him, and I don't really see that changing anytime soon.
And almost turnovers. I mean, there were some games last year where he had 2 or 3 passes that could have been intercepted that were dropped or whatever else. And so I don't know if that's decision-making. I don't know if that's just can't quite get the throw where he wants to. I mean, when you talk to people and see him in practice, like what do you see with the turnovers is the big issue?
Decision-making, I mean, certainly Dirk Cutter's brought that word up a couple of different times. So I think decision-making is a problem. I mean, the height can be a problem, even though Chris Peterson came on Idaho Sports Talk and mocked us when he said, when we talked about the height thing, he doesn't think that's an issue there, but it clearly is a little bit of an issue. In terms of eyesight, that might lead to some of his decision-making. I think sometimes he just tries to force the ball into too tight of windows. And whether it's a bang-bang play and a tip and somebody catches it and it's not really his fault, he's still trying to wedge the ball into tight windows. So I think he's trying to do too much. Maybe he feels, and I don't want to say he feels the pressure of this competition because this is an issue that goes all the way back to last year, but I just think that he might be one of those turnover-prone quarterbacks. I don't think it's a serious problem, but it's definitely a problem.
But I do know, and I that you will feel the same as me, I was super impressed with his interview last week.
Malachi's?
Yes.
Oh,
well, both. But I mean, Malachi, who we hadn't talked to before, certainly a fascinating individual.
He blew me away. And I don't know why, because I didn't have any expectations other than the fact that everybody kept saying he was an introvert. He was quiet. He lives in an apartment in Meridian by himself. His dad even came on the show, and I know he's come on your show and talked about his son being an introvert. So I kind of expected this quiet, shy guy, almost kind of like Cam Camper. We had a chance to meet Cam Camper, and it was a really fun interview, but he's kind of quiet. He's kind of shy and doesn't have a lot to say, and I thought maybe Malachi would be the same. Malachi is very eloquent in what he says, and certainly a deep thinker, very methodical. Methodical is a big part of his game, and like I said, he talked about being a vibe person. He talked about journaling and how that helps with his mental health. So I thought it was a fantastic interview. I tweeted out something about him being an impressive young man, and I use a word that I think you use a lot, but I don't use very often at all. Wow. He kind of blew me away that day.
No doubt. We'll continue to talk about the quarterbacks. We'll take your questions and comments in the ICCU YouTube chat. Get those in there, and make sure you're subscribing to our YouTube channel as well. We've surpassed 5,200 already, about 250 YouTube subscribers in the last 3 weeks here.
Nice.
As we continue to grow this channel during fall camp. So hit that like button in the bottom of the screen. I think it's on that side. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube and get your chat, your question, your comment in the ICCU chat. We'll get to that in just a second. I want to bring up Ashton Jeanty as well, and whether or not it makes sense in the return game for him to return some kicks and punts. I have just posted an article on Bronco Nation News. We'll discuss that. We'll hear from some of the players involved in that decision. We'll do that in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. We're right back on Bronco Nation News. All Bronco Nation News broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers. That includes the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer in the country to support an NIL collective. Portion of the proceeds from each sale of the Horseshoe Golden Ale go directly to Boise State student athletes via the Horseshoe Collective. Western Collective's beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, are available at most major retailers in Idaho. Western Collective, the studio sponsor at Bronco Nation News. Our title sponsor at Bronco Nation News is rowpaint.com. For over 23 years, Row Painting has built a name synonymous with excellence in the painting and coatings industry. We serve a diverse portfolio of clients, including residential homeowners and homeowners associations, commercial businesses, general contractors, and industrial site purchasers. All of their clients receive the peace of mind that comes with expert project management, safe, skilled, and experienced painters, and professional-grade equipment. They provide a stress-free experience while solving your painting needs. They've completed more than 11,500 projects, including the back patio and garage in the Rains house, and they can do your project next Our title sponsor, again, check them out online, roepaint.com. Give them a call, 208-991-0567. The official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics and the title sponsor of Bronco Nation News, roepaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union has been helping members achieve financial success for more than 80 years. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket with free eBranch mobile and online banking. Don't have time to run to the branch to deposit your check? No problem. With Idaho Central Credit Union's mobile deposit feature in the mobile banking app, you can deposit your check anytime, anywhere. See why over 500,000 members love Idaho Central Credit Union. Again, that's 1 in 4 Idahoans. Make the switch today at iccu.com. Lithia Ford of Boise supports Boise State Athletics as the official car and truck of the Broncos and through NIL deals with Jonah Dalmas, Andrew Simpson, Ahmed Hassanin, and Matt Lauder. 4 Boise State football players rocking vehicles from Lithia Ford, as well as Paige Barsh from the volleyball team and Brooke Patterson from the women's golf team. The fall kickoff sale is going on today at Lithia Ford of Boise. Check them out online. View their full inventory of vehicles at lithiafordboise.com. For your next car or truck purchase, think Lithia Ford. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho. All right, back here on Bronco Nation News Live. We're taking your comments. We're taking your questions. Appreciate you guys hanging on through the commercial break there. We got a lot of comments on the quarterbacks. Maddox Madsen was number 1 in the ESPN 300 in the years before. Let's see. Do you know the top-ranked players were for each class? Travis Hunter, Bryce Young, Quinn Ewers. Nelson is a special player. He will play soon.
Well, Nelson is a special player, absolutely. I think Maddox is pretty special as well. Just because he doesn't have the 5 stars doesn't mean anything. The intangibles of Maddox in terms of, the DNA, his high school pedigree, state championships, the leadership, all that kind of stuff. And Malachi certainly has a lot of that. But I get a little fired up when people think just because he's a 5-star recruit from what 2 years ago or whatever it is, that he should automatically be Boise State starting quarterback regardless of what Dirk Cutter. I mean, it's like Dirk Cutter out here just doing a charade because somebody in a recruiting service 2 years ago gave him 5 stars. Don't be a better fan than that. I really truly believe that it's okay to root for one. And I'm in this business as you are because we like the bigger story. Malachi Nelson, as you said earlier in the show, is the bigger story. If Malachi Nelson's the quarterback at Boise State, it creates buzz, it creates excitement as long as he can get the job done. And maybe we're going to get there one day. We're definitely going to get there one day. So, give me Malachi Nelson in the big story, but just because he's the 5-star recruit doesn't mean he deserves to be the quarterback right off the bat. Dirk Cutter has very high standards, and right now, Maddox Madsen is closer to meeting those standards than Malachi.
And I think he gave you guys a similar answer, and I think you guys asked first, which is why he was riled up about it and went off on me when I asked the question after.
Yeah.
But Dirk Cutter could not give a rat's whatever about how many star rankings the guy has.
No, and he has flat out said that. And Dirk Cutter had never seen Malachi Nelson even throw a football until the first day of spring camp on the Monday. I think it was a Monday. And he walked out there like the rest of us. And just like everybody else, he sat and watched Malachi Nelson throw for the very first time. So Dirk Cutter is starting from scratch and building his own mind game when it comes to Malachi Nelson, and I'm comfortable with that.
What do you think, though? I mean, it does seem like at least a lot of people took away his pre-camp press conference that he was, I don't know if favoring is the right word, but obviously has the experience and knows what Maddox Madsen can do, has seen him. How do you think the previous experience and just his knowledge of that and him not being a part of the recruiting process or bringing in Malachi and not knowing any of that story, how do you think that whole story and just the previous experience knowledge with Madsen and maybe the perceived leg up he had going into camp? I mean, he named him the starter, I guess, for the first team going into camp because of some of that previous knowledge. How does that kind of play into this in terms of Dirk Cutter favoring one guy or the other?
Immensely, because he knows what he has, and Dirk Cutter is smart. He doesn't fabricate stuff out of the blue clouds. He looks at something, and how many times did he reference, I love Maddox Madsen because of what I've seen on tape, and it's based on last year, and whether it was Dirk Cutter watching from wherever he was watching Maddox Madsen do some nice things for Boise State, and he really did do some nice things. I thought Maddox Madsen, outside of, he's still a young kid and he's still trying to progress. And outside of a few mistakes, I thought he played really well. He played tough. He played hard. Yeah, he's got some turnover issues. He's got that. And we talked about that earlier, but Yeah, I think that had a big part of it. What Dirk Cutter saw on tape impressed him for Maddox Madsen, and that probably gave him a heads up.
We are out here in the parking lot at Albertsons Stadium. I just realized I never closed the door to my truck over there. We are at Albertsons Stadium getting ready for Boise State football practice. They are outside today. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful morning for practice. Ironically enough, that indoor practice the other day was the nicest day of fall camp, and we were stuck inside. But you showed up. I showed up at the Inferno practice. We sweated it out with everybody else.
I lost 5 pounds. I jumped on the scale before I went to practice. I jumped on the scale when I got home that night, and I purposely didn't eat so I could cheat the sweat, and I lost 5 pounds.
How about that? I need to get on that. I need to get on that and get back. We need about 20 straight Inferno practices or something.
We got one more next week.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. All right, but a lot of other topics I want to get to here, one of which is Ashton Jeanty. I'm loading a soundbite in here that's taken forever to load. We'll play it in a second here, but I don't know why. Maybe I'm the only one that cares about this, thinks about this, but I think that this just fascinates me. I know Boise State has done it with Doug Martin. They've done it with other guys. A lot of schools do it, but Ashton Jeanty may be the most important player on one team in terms of recent Boise State history, and one guy having such a massive impact on this team. And I don't know all the rosters of every team in the country. I'm not going to say that, where he ranks in the country. He's one of the more valuable players to his team of any team that's probably contending for a playoff spot this year. I think that's fair to say.
Absolutely.
One of. And is he a very exciting player? Can he do some huge things in the return game? Would you love to see him back there? Probably so. Do you want to see him the majority of the time or all the time be available at running back? Yes, you do. So I don't know. I just think that's kind of fascinating. They are considering using Ashton Jeanty as a punt and kick returner. I get it. You can get injured on every play of football. It doesn't matter. But just by definition, by statistics, the more plays you are out there, the more chances you have of something bad going wrong. You have Latrell Caples. You have Caden Dudley. You have Cooper Jones. You have a lot of other key players. Where are you on Boise State potentially using Ashton Jeanty as a kick or punt returner?
Oh, that's a good one. And I have spent some time thinking about that. First of all, let's think about this in the realistic sense, guys. We're talking maybe 3 plays a game. I mean, if there's like 3 to 4 to 5 punts, he's going to return 1 or 2 or maybe 3 of them a game. So we're literally talking 1 to 2, 3 plays. And statistically, you're not wrong at all. I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't think it's going to happen, nor do I think it should happen, even though he might be the most exciting player out there. I don't think it should happen unless he's proven to be clearly by a wide margin the best punt returner on this football team. And I think I saw during the Inferno practice when I was sweating through my tears, Latrell Caples, who's been taking a lot of punt returns during camp, he took several of them, and he looks just fantastic, and he looks fine.
Took a few, though, too.
He did take a few. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. I think they're doing it as a service to Ashton Jeanty to get him ready for the NFL, because he's going to need to have that skill when he goes to the NFL. So I think it's a service to him, but I also think it's a service to this football team, because maybe he is the best. And if he is the best, clearly the best, put him out there. Otherwise, I don't think we're ever going to see him, because I think they're just getting him ready for the NFL. They're getting him ready for his backup situation in case they need it. And I think Latrell Caples is going to get those 1, 2, maybe 3 opportunities per game to return a punt, and that's the end of it. Maybe we'll see Ashton Jeanty do it a couple of times over the course of the season. There's no way I believe that he's going to be the number 1 guy all year long.
Now, I wrote a story that I posted about 12:30 a.m. last night. You can go to Bronco Nation, or this morning, I guess. You can go to BroncoNationNews.com and read it. It details the numbers of just how bad Boise State was in the punt and kick return game last year. And that's why they're trying to find some game-changing plays. Stacy Collins coming in. He had his running back at Penn State who had 2,000, yards from scrimmage the last 2 years out there returning kicks. He had 27 kick returns the last 2 seasons for their kind of number 1 running back. Stacy Collins has done this, and they need to have some game-changing plays. We'll get to the numbers in a second, but let's hear Ashton Jeanty, James Montgomery, Stacy Collins, Spencer Danielson. I did a little research asking some of these coaches about it. What do they think, the decision? Let's hear from them, then we'll discuss on the other side here.
I mean, he has the mindset, whatever it is, to help the team. And so, I mean, if we use him in those situations, we'll be smart about it. But, that's not really my decision. That's a little bit over my head. But we're getting ready to be prepared in all situations to be able to touch the ball.
If we can find a way to make game-changing plays on special teams, we're going to use those guys.
And Genty would certainly be. I mean, that'd be an intriguing guy to have back there.
Yeah, and we did, if you look at last year, Nick Singleton, who was a running back at Penn State, he returned kicks for us. He was able to, give us great starting field position at that. So it's got to fit within Ashton's skill set, which he's an extremely skilled young man. And then giving him the ability to open up in space. If he gives us that best chance to give a starting field position, he'll be the guy who does it for us.
And all through camp, we're trying to find guys that can go back there and be effective. And because that's been one of the emphasis, because last year we weren't very explosive in the return game, so we're trying to get better back there. So we got a lot of guys rotating and rolling around back there, seeing what people can do. But I think we'll have a good list of guys back there that'll be able to return punts or kicks.
I've done a lot of research on that kind of stuff. BJ talked to a lot of head coaches, not only from practice to scrimmages, on how to make sure he's ready for game one, because that's always the balance for me as a head coach is I want our team playing fast and fresh game one, but we need to be ready. We need to be ready to play football. And no different for Ashton. Obviously, he's put on film who he is, but he's had a lot of amazing growth over this offseason too. So we've been smart with what we use him. I mean, he's going to be a big-time issue for guys to deal with in the return game. So right now, me and Coach Collins are looking at it to see when we use him. We're going to be smart with the spots we do, but we want him having the ball in his hand as much as we can.
I mean, it's whatever to help the team. We'll be smart about it situationally. Obviously, he's going to be a very big piece of our offense, but he's very dynamic with the ball in his hands, and so if we choose to do that, we'll be strategic about it. But at the end of the day, it won't be my decision.
Do you like him back there? What he brings?
Well, I love everything he does with the ball in his hands. So, he does a really good job. He catches all the punts, and he actually does all our special teams drills at a really high level. So, it's just preparing him to get ready for that next level.
Excited about it. Just another way to get on the field and make plays and show that I can make something happen with space on the field.
How do you? I mean, some people say, why waste him? Why use him at return and risk injury, whatever? I mean, how do you kind of look at being back there? And obviously, your most important is running back. But I mean, how do you look at being back there?
I mean, yeah, every play, you're risking getting injury, especially the position I play. But it's more to it than that. And at the end of the day, I just want to do whatever I can to help the team win.
To visualize in your head, though, whether it be the first game or a big return at Albertsons Stadium week 2, I mean, just to think about the possibility of what he can do with the ball in his hands. That has to be, I see you laughing. I mean, it has to be pretty exciting with what that potential could be like.
I mean, well, he's always exciting with the ball in his hands, and so if we get probably specific looks or we know we got a chance to be able to return something, we'll probably try to get him back there. But like I said, it won't be my call. That'll come from above my head.
All right. He did laugh there, Mike Prater. I mean, if you the thought of it, if you just think about it, Albertsons Stadium, Oregon, week 2, third quarter, they're trying to hang in the game, whatever. They're backed up, whatever. They need a big return. Like the thought of number 2 trotting back there to return a punt, like it is pretty exciting thought.
Oh, absolutely. Whether you're a coach, whether you're a player, whether you're a fan in the stadium, whether you're a fan at home watching on TV, that would create some serious excitement and buzz. And I like his chances, but at the same time, I think his priority is. Well, I know his priority is obviously his running back position. I want Ashton Genty to touch the ball 30-plus times a game, 25 carries, 5 targets in the receiving game. And to me, that's the most important thing. I want to go. I want to see this 2,000-yard run, of not just 3 yards from scrimmage, but 2,000 rushing yards. And I want to see Ashton Genty just create all kinds of chaos there. And, maybe it'll be just kind of a situational thing. Has he gone on a long drive and he's still trying to suck some gas because the other team is going 3 and out or something like that? Caples, again, I think Caples is going to be the guy, but maybe Ashton Genty gets a couple of shots. I hope they're careful with him. They say they're going to be smart, but the temptation to give the ball to Ashton Genty on every single play of every single football game is certainly pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, I do see both sides of it. You certainly don't want to get him injured. If he gets injured on a punt return, and again, I know folks say, every play you can every football play you can get. Yes, but every other play you're not injured if you're sitting on the sidelines on a punt return. That's one safer way just to know for sure when you need that next carry, he's going to be out there. I get that side of it, but I also do hey man, you're talking about 30-plus touches. If 30 could become 33 because he gets 3 punt returns, it's pretty dynamic, pretty exciting. Like if you ask any player, any media member, probably any fan, who's the one guy that you would want to make a play with the ball in his hands for this team, or who has the best chance of making something happen? It probably is Ashton Genty. So I get both sides of it. Now, the numbers were, being kind to say, awful last year. And part of the problem was they just never even tried. It was so bad, they just stopped trying.
Yes.
They were 118th, Mike Prater. They only had 0.6 punt returns per game. So they only even tried to return about a half a punt a game.
Wow.
118th in the country. Do you know how many total punt return yards they had the entire season? Any guess?
I think it's less than 100.
27.
Oh,
the entire season they had 27 punt return yards last year. That was 126th. They were 123rd in the country, Mike Prater. They averaged 3.38 yards per punt return. And one more stat for you. Only 11 teams in the country had fewer attempts at returning punts than Boise State. So they never did it. And then when they did it, they were terrible at it too. They were amongst the worst in the country in both attempts and what they did when they tried to return it. A little bit better in the kick return, but not much. They were 79th, averaging 19.3 yards per return, and they returned just 26 kick returns in 14 games. The numbers were terrible. So you bring in Stacey Collins. That is one of the big things. Let's find some game-changing plays. Obviously, you need to do something different back there, and the fact maybe that's just, hey, no matter what, return that sucker. Just stop fair catching it. But I do think the types of players all across the board on special teams, it sounds like more starters are going to be out there. They've got the logos that say SWAT. They're making it cool to be on special teams. And if you can get your team captain, your Heisman, candidate, whatever, back All-American back there wanting to be involved and return some of these, I think that sends a message to the rest of the team.
Absolutely, it does send a message to the rest of the team. Again, if he is clearly the best guy to do this. And let's say that Ashton Jeanty is the punt returner. And let's say on, the first couple, he gets 5 or 6 or 12 yards or whatever. It's kind of a routine bang, bang play. And then he stays on the field and lines up in first down and 10. So no big deal there. But what if he goes on the big, long boomer? That's a good problem to have if he's going 30, 40, 50 yards. But now he's got to go back to the sideline or go back to the huddle and be RB1, and he's probably sucking a little wind. Sire Gaines or Breezy Dubar come in at that point for 1st and 10. I don't know. Those are little pieces of the puzzle that you have to play. Again, if it happens, sign me up. I'm all for it. I'm like James Montgomery. Anytime Ashton Jeanty can touch the football, we're going to get excited. I just don't think you have to do it unless he is clearly the best guy, and I don't think he is clearly the best guy because I think Caples is pretty damn good at what he does.
Not surprisingly, it's about a 50-50 reaction in the chat. We see your comments on there. Appreciate those. Keep them coming. But Doug Martin, I looked it up. 100-yard opening kickoff of the entire game in the 2011 Las Vegas Bowls before I got to town. But everyone brings that up, and I went back and looked at it. Opening kickoff of the entire game, 2011 Mako Bowl against Arizona State. House is at 100 yards. They don't give you in college, the end zone time, but 100-yard kickoff return sets the tone right away. Boise State goes up 7-0. He went on to rush for 151 yards and a touchdown in that game also. He was the MVP of the game. Boise State clearly has done that with and I think Madison was back there on some kick returns in the past. They have done that here, and I know they do it other places, but so he wouldn't be the first to be back there doing it.
Have we seen Jeanty do any kick returning at all? I don't think I have.
I've seen him on both.
Have you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's done a little bit of kick. I think kick returning might actually be the one that they would use him at more. I don't know.
I've seen him more at punt return, but
one of those practices last week, I saw him doing some kick.
Okay, and we'll certainly keep an eye on that as they move forward. I know the Inferno practice the other day, they were doing more return stuff than maybe they had done before. So certainly here in about a half hour when we pop over to practice, we'll start keeping an eye on that. But I think it's a great debate. It's a good problem to have, and it's a great debate.
And that is the running back at Penn State. That's where Stacey Collins had him, was doing kicks.
I didn't know that. Yeah. That's an important piece of the information. Nice of you to dig that up. I did not catch that part of the interview, and I have not read your story yet on Bronco Nation News. But that's important. And obviously, Stacey Collins is going to be the biggest factor in this special teams. Not so much the players, but the schemes. The importance, getting all 12 or 11 players, maybe starters, and seeing how that plays out. So I can't wait to see how that plays out for sure.
It was 27 returns in the last 2 years. Let me find. I'm trying to find the gentleman's name. I'm sorry, I forgot.
Singleton?
It was Nick Singleton.
Yeah.
2,000 plus rushing and receiving yards the past 2 seasons. Also had 27 kick returns for 662 yards and a touchdown.
Wow.
He averaged 24.5 yards per return. And again, Boise State averaged 19 yards per return last year. So they're trying to, we'll see. I think it's an interesting topic. Maybe I'm making a bigger deal about it than others, but it seems like in the chat, it is 50-50. Some say don't risk the injury. Some say he's your best player. Get him the ball as much as you can. Opening kickoff of the season against Georgia Southern, if you're returning the opening kickoff, why not start things out with your best player taking one back?
Maybe that's a good time to do it. See how it goes and play it from there.
Hey, let's take one more quick timeout. We got one more 2-minute break, and then we're going to get Mike Prater's thoughts on some other position battles, some things going on. Believe it or not, Mike, we're 16 days from the first game. And when 2 weeks from Saturday, 2 weeks from right now, I'll be somewhere on my way to my first or second layover on the way to try to get to Savannah 2 weeks from today. So it's actually shorter here than we have the big scrimmage coming up on Saturday, which me and Tust will kind of really preview tomorrow. But I want to get your thoughts on that and kind of what position battles, things we still think need to happen in that second scrimmage. So we got a few minutes left. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right in just a minute here on Bronco Nation News. The Treasure Valley freestanding Taco Bell stores are hiring. Check out TacoBellWorks.com to apply for a job. Great promotional opportunities, free food while you work, half your wages the next day after your shift. If you're looking for a new job, think Taco Bell. SON Management Group and the Nicolason family and TacoBellWorks.com. Taco Bell serves up some of the best breakfast in the Valley. Try the breakfast sausage quesadilla, the breakfast California crunch wrap, the toasted breakfast sausage or bacon burrito, or the breakfast crunch wrap combo. Bronco Nation News thanks Taco Bell, the SON Management Group, and the Nicolason family for their support. Get more information on their impact on the community and apply for a job at TacoBellWorks.com. Check out the Blue and Orange store for all your Boise State gear. The blueandorangestore.com has great deals on the latest hats, jerseys, sweatshirts, jackets, bumper stickers, car flags, and more. Get the latest Ashton Genty Heisman shirts, the NIL gear, coaches sideline apparel, and more. You have many options when it comes to buying your Boise State gear, but you won't find a better and bigger selection than the Blue and Orange store. Thanks to Travis Hawks and company for their support. Return the favor and shop at the Blue and Orange store and get ready for game day. Again, you can shop from anywhere online at theblueandorangestore.com or check them out the second floor of the Boise Town Square Mall. The best way to start your day is at Jackson's. Step inside Jackson's food stores and discover convenience that goes beyond the pump. From fresh brewed coffee and delicious snacks to a wide selection of groceries and everyday essentials, we've got you covered. Jackson's supports Boise State through NIL deals for Ahmed Hassanin and Breezy Dubar. Don't forget, 25 cents from every hot dog purchase from a Treasure Valley Jackson store goes directly to the Horseshoe Collective. Snag that free banana when you buy a fountain drink, coffee, deli sandwich, or wrap. Find a location near you and sign up for Let's Go Rewards at Jacksons.com. Check out Snake River Pool and Spa, Idaho's #1 local dealer for over 45 years. Whether it's a hot spring spa like the Rains family has, or a pool table, sauna, patio furniture, and more, check out Snake River Pool and Spa. Locations in Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa. Snake River Pool and Spa, Patio and Game are proud partner of Bronco Athletics, supporting the Broncos pools and spas. Check out thespateam.com for pricing, brochures, financing options, specials, and more. Whether it's a hot spring spa, a pool table, or an air hockey table for the game room, Snake River Pool and Spa, Patio and Game has it all. The Rains family recently purchased our hot spring Limelight Flash Spa, and we couldn't be happier with the purchase. The installation process was easy, and the spa was up and running in no time. Check out their full inventory and turn your dream into a reality at thespateam.com. All right, we're back here. Final segment of the show. Mike Prater, you got your seating chart there. Let's see. We got a lot of nice comments. We appreciate everybody. We're seeing those. But practice today. Again, nice, beautiful day right now. I actually kind of wish I had a light jacket right now. I'm sure when the sun comes out, that'll change. But when we race over there and run into practice and probably get a third straight day with a parking ticket, at least for me, while we're in there, where are you going to be headed today? What's on Mike Prater's agenda in terms of some key things for you?
You know, I've been watching the interior of the offensive line an awful lot. I watched that an awful lot at the Inferno practice yesterday. Nothing like going to an Inferno practice and watching the big fat guys sweat. And the interior part of the offensive line to me is I'm not worried about it because I think they've got really nice depth there, but they're mixing and matching a lot of different parts. And obviously some guys are banged up here, banged up there. It's very minor stuff as guys kind of rotate in and out and dealing with just regular everyday camp stuff. I think it's building the depth there, and I'm seeing one guy on the left side, one guy on the right side, mixing and matching some center stuff. So the inside, the two guards in the center, to me, in terms of how they play all this out, who's healthy, who's not healthy, and what kind of rotation are they looking at? To me, that's one of the bigger questions, and probably the only real big question that I have on offense, outside of obviously the quarterback, which I don't think is going to change anytime soon. I think probably, in a Thursday or Friday coming up here, Spencer Danielson's going to announce Maddox Madsen as the starter, and we'll see how it all plays out. And so I think the offense is pretty much set. The right tackle, the left tackle, and even some depth behind them are in really good shape. The tight end's in a good spot. There's a nice little battle between Art for RB2, and I don't think that that's going to change because I just think they're going to mix and match with Sire and Breezy. But Sire's had himself one heck of a camp, and might be RB2.
Even Dylan Riley looks impressive at times. Yeah,
that guy's looked really, really impressive at certain times. So he's certainly not he's a guy that just showed up in June, and he did not come early. And he came off last year. He had that gruesome track injury. Shows up in June, but he's done a great job in 2 months that he's been here to make a difference with this football team. So I think the offense is pretty well set. The defense. Maybe I'll continue to watch Jaden Virgin Morgan and Gabe Hunter on the other end outside of Ahmed Hassanin and how that's playing out. Maybe they mix and match some interior defensive line guys as well. I'm not too worried about that. I think the cornerback spot is set. The linebacker spot is set. Although Rip might be getting more reps at one than I thought he was going to get, because I thought it was going to be Marco and Andrew Simpson, and it's going to rotate between those three and maybe even one more. But I think that the positions have been set. I think it's been a productive fall camp from our perspective. I think the depth chart is kind of locked in and loaded, and I just can't wait to see those big fat ugly guys in the center of the of that offensive line and see how they do the next couple of days.
I got to tell you what, guys, when Mike Prater makes his way around practice, when he stops in front of a position group to watch, you just see the intensity of that group raised up. Tim Keene, he's going lower with his hands on his knees. It is like, okay, Mike Prater's here. We got to step this thing up.
That couldn't be farther from the truth, and I don't know what your motive is for that. Johnny Ballgame and I were watching, and I think he's the one that noticed this. The offensive linemen were on a pad, and they were doing the sliding pad thing. And that Inferno practice, the pad got a little sticky and a little wet, and it may have even turned a little brown color. So it was kind of gross, but I guess welcome to fall camp in the world of the offensive line guys.
Yesterday it was having to take a whiz. Today it's a brown pad. I don't know where we're going on this.
Sweaty brown pad.
Yes. I got one final question for Mike Prater, but first want to remind you about Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate. Check him out. #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley is Matt Bauscher. He helped us sell and buy our home, and I found out firsthand why they truly are the best. So check them out, BauscherRealEstate.com. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. They got locations across the valley, across the state, across the Northwest here. So check them out, shopridleys.com. And again, download that Skip app. Get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line, a spot that Mike Prater and I know and love very well. I had a Lean Feast breakfast today, Mike Prater.
Nice.
LeanFeastMeridian.com. Check them out, 487-5782. Online, that website is incorrect at the bottom. I got to change that. It's LeanFeastMeridian.com. LeanFeastMeridian.com is the website. And again, 10,000 plus combinations. It's fresh. It's healthy, any kind of diet, and they don't make it till you order it. It's not some frozen thing you buy online. And now you have no excuse because they do deliver anywhere in the Treasure Valley. So make sure you check them out. And Mike Prater, 2 weeks from now, I'll be on the way to Statesboro. But 1 week from right now, I'll be broadcasting live from Circa Resort and Casino. We're still signing folks up for their contest. They have a contest weekend going on. And I just found out yesterday, Brad Bedell and Kent Riddle are both going down next weekend.
Nice.
So we're going to have some shenanigans to ensue. I'm going to take them to Barry's for a nice steak dinner.
Nice.
We got Connor Johnstone. We got the Draper family. We got about 10 people in the BNN crew going down to sign up for these contests. So if you can join us, join us. If you can't join us, we can sign you up. Again, $1,000 entry. You can get some buddies together, split the cost. $10 million for Survivor, $6 million for the Millions, which is you pick 5 games against the spread each week, and it's a fun contest. So let me know. And again, it's 100% legal to play anywhere in the world using Tom Carroll and our proxy, Vegas football proxy. So we'll take you. We'll get you signed up. We're going to double up your money at the roulette wheel first, but then we'll sign you up and get you ready to go for these contests. So again, we can use Tom Carroll. You make your picks on Thursday and Friday, and it's you got to sign up in Vegas, but you can play from anywhere in the world. So again, thanks to Circa Sports, and looking forward to being down there next week for the show. Okay, final question and a half here for you, Mike Prater. You gave a great outline of all the things you're going to be looking at, whatever. I'm putting you on the spot here. I'm putting you on the spot here, but what is a storyline or a position battle or a player or something that we are not talking enough about that we should be? Rip on the media, the fans, whoever. What do you think's an underlying kind of big deal that we're not making a big deal right now?
Well, I think we've made a big deal of a lot of different things. That's
we don't miss anything at BNN.
We don't miss anything.
KTIK, we got you covered.
I know we've hinted at it and talked about it, but Sire Gaines and the progress he's made, we just touched on that. I'll say it right now, just based on my observations, he's a better running back than Breezy Dubar. So I'm not sure a lot of people get that to that point yet. That's just my opinion in terms of what I've seen from fall camp this year.
Well, we've seen more of him lately, unfortunately.
Yeah, so we'll see how that plays out. We've talked a lot about the safety rotation, and a guy like Zion Washington is making great progress. Devon Banks, Devon Banks, I think, has gotten a little quiet for me the last 10 days of fall camp. And maybe that's just because I'm looking at other different things. You can't watch 115 football players in the camp time that we get. But Devon Banks, to me, has been a little bit quiet as Irby and McCoy and Reed kind of lock in on the cornerback position. So I want to be watching Devon Banks and what he does and what kind of impact that he makes over the last couple of days of fall camp. That's really about it for me. I'm just really curious as to what's going to happen with the quarterback battle, if we're ever going to see more and more number one reps coming out of Malachi Nelson now that he's getting some number one reps. Another big part of fall camp that we have to talk about. It's not really a part of fall camp, but I know it's going to happen tomorrow, and I think you and Jay will talk about it tomorrow. But tomorrow we get a chance to talk to Jeremiah Dickey as well and kind of pick his brain since he made the news that he's coming back as an athletic director and try to find out some more details about that. If Jeremiah Dickey had announced that he's leaving, that would have killed the great buzz that Boise State football has had in camp. So even though it's not camp related, I think it's massive news, and certainly we want to dive into those details with Jeremiah Dickey tomorrow.
The non-conference basketball schedule also just dropped. No real surprises on there. I've reported most of those games. They're at San Francisco. They've got Clemson at home. That's going to be a good one. They were in the Elite Eight last year. They're in that tournament down there in the Cayman Islands. They've got Washington State at downtown Boise Arena. They've got St. Mary's again in Idaho Falls. Couple other kind of bye games in there. So intriguing season opener November 6th against Oakland. They were the team that upset Kentucky in the first round of the NCAA tournament last year. A couple of their key players transferred, but nice. Go check that out for the non-conference basketball schedule being released as well. So Mike, appreciate your time. I think this truck deciding Capital Paving, by the way, that's you know who that is. That's our man Garrett Collingham and company.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's so they do a tremendous job there. So
nice.
We appreciate them. And again, we're going to go over to practice. You guys will have full coverage, some interviews today, 3:00.
Yeah, we got Sire Gaines today. We got Breezy Dubar. I think Bob Buehler's even talking to Chris Marshall. So 3 big-time stars, 3 big-time interviews. And then tomorrow we all tackle the Jeremiah Dickey and get after that as well.
Looking forward to that, 3:00 today. Make sure you're listening to Idaho Sports Talk. And then Jay Tuss and I will be back at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel. If you're watching on Facebook or X, switch over to YouTube, subscribe to our channel, subscribe to the KTIK channels. They do a daily video segment as well. So appreciate you guys for doing that. If you can afford us the $50, we'd love a year subscription to BNN for $50. Use that promo code BNN50 deal. You get $20 off the first year. You can read my story on Ashton Genty. You can read Prater's column that's coming up, all of our stuff. You get a daily email, a lot of other cool stuff. So please let me know if you can do that and actually just sign up, and we'd love to have you. And then, again, a couple spots left, by the way, if you want to go to we're trying to get Prater and Johnny down there. We'll see if we can. The football game in October down in Las Vegas. We got some cool stuff going with that, but we got a package together with flight, hotels, all kinds of stuff. Reach out to me if you're interested in that. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We're going to head to practice, check our social media for anything that happens, and then 3:00. Make sure you have it on 95.3 FM, 1350 AM, the ticket for Johnny and Prater, and they'll recap it for you. So appreciate it, guys. Go subscribe on YouTube to the site and check it out. Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com.